Hi everyone, welcome to our series of training videos for our new recruiting analytics. My name is Liel and I'm the Customer Success Team Lead here at Comeet. Let me just start and say how excited we all are to launch our new reports. Our BI and product team have invested countless hours and weeks of hard work to research and map our customer needs based on feedback and usage in order to develop and create these new reports that will allow all of you to further leverage your recruiting data in a clear, straightforward format with various filters and options for viewing and analyzing the data. All of the reports provide flexibility, helping you generate the precise data set in different forms that help you answer your organization's critical questions. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that in Comeet, some reports are available for the light subscription plan, while others are available for the ultimate and enterprise plans. The following roles can view all reports by default: owners, admins, management roles, recruiters, and recruiting coordinators. Today, we're going to start by briefly talking about the strategy behind these new reports and the basic layout and structure, and then we'll take you through some top reports to use in addition to our highlights report and the activity and funnel report, which we covered in our previous training videos. So let's get started. Today's agenda, we'll talk about the strategy and the report layouts and types, and the top reports that we'll be covering today are the hires overview, candidates in progress, and the source quality. So before we jump to the actual reports, I'll share a little bit about our strategy and thought process regarding our new reports. First off, we really wanted to make things easier for you and design reports that are in Comeet, not in an external platform, so that everything is in one system. In this way, we want to prevent confusion, give you the same look and feel across all of your reports, and make sure you have easy access. All of the reports include tooltips, and we've also created a new series of articles including a glossary and a reports catalog to give you as much information that will help you utilize the new reports in the most efficient way. As we'll see together in just a bit, we've made the structure of the reports as straightforward as possible, so it's easy to scan and drill down and reduce the overload of different data sets. The structure is aligned across all of the reports in a unified way, so that once you understand one report, you'll understand them all. I also want to add, for all of you who have used Comeet reports and Comeet Insights previously, you'll find the reports reflect all of the well-known dashboards and reports, and I'm sure you'll find it easy to dive right in. So let's talk about the report layouts. So no matter which report you've chosen to view, you'll see that they all have a clear, straightforward structure. These are the following parts of each one of the reports that we'll see together. We'll cover the filters at the top part of the screen, which you can filter the time frame or other different criteria. We'll have the KPI section, followed by trends and a summary table, and a details table as well. We also have several report types. The two main types are the historical analysis and the snapshot. The historical analysis report will allow you to filter by a specific time period. So for example, all of the hires in 2022. So different reports will have different time frames available. Some will capture the application date, while others, for example, will capture the hire date. So make sure to check the time filter before viewing the data. The next type is a snapshot report. A snapshot report is capturing the data that is accurate as of the moment you're viewing the report. It will show you current data that is updated as of this morning. For example, all of the candidates that are currently in progress or all of the current openings you have open. Another type of report is the highlight report. We have a whole training video dedicated to this report, so make sure to take a look. This report highlights the most significant and informative hiring activity data available throughout the report system. So that's why you'll see a combination of historical analysis as well as snapshot data. You can use this report to conduct an overall analysis of your current hiring process. Since this report is new, as mentioned, we'll have a whole new training video dedicated to it. Great, so now let's dive into our top reports. Here you can see our Comeet demo for today, and when going to the top right-hand corner, you'll click your company name and you'll be able to see our new menu called Analytics. When we click here, it will take us to the new Analytics platform. You can see now that everything has been updated with our new reports. At the top left-hand corner, you'll have the Getting Started section with the reports catalog, the glossary, and the export option, which you're all familiar with. Again, I'm going to remind you, we have two additional training videos dedicated to the highlights report, another video dedicated to the activity and funnel report, which are two of the top reports that you'll be using on an ongoing basis. And for all of you who are just getting started, we have our Get Starting with Recruiting Analytics video. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and jump to our first report for today, the Hires Overview. Over here under Positions, you'll click the Hires Overview report. You'll want to go ahead and select a time frame. If we're looking at March, for example, since we're only in the beginning of the month, we probably won't see a lot of data. So we can either use the arrows to go back and take a look at February, or the drop-down option, which allows you to choose a specific month, quarter, year, or even a custom view to choose a specific week or period that interests you. With this report, you can review the total number of hires made within a selected time period in order to recognize and evaluate the accomplishments of the recruiting team. You'll also be able to examine the time to hire metric to assess the effectiveness and pace of successfully concluded hiring processes. Examine the apply to hire metric to inquire how effective the recruiting team operates once the right candidate has been found. Investigate the ups and downs in the number of hires, as well as the time to hire and apply to hire metrics over time, in order to identify periods of considerable trend changes and inquire what causes such shifts. Slice the number of hires as well as the aforementioned metrics by various criteria in order to explore the extent to which the company's hiring goals were met on a more granular level. You'll notice here that the time period selected is based on the date on which the candidate was hired. The report, as we mentioned, is divided into these sections. We have the KPIs, the hires trend, the hire summary, and the hired candidates. Let's start at the top. By default, this section displays data taken from the current month, featuring the following metrics. The hired candidates, which is the total number of candidates that were hired within the selected time period. We have our average time to hire, average apply to hire, and average time to onboard. All of these KPIs will also have a median, so you can see if there's a large gap between the median and the average, indicating that you have some outliers that are impacting the average. And you'll also see a comparison to the previous time period. If we've chosen a specific month, we'll see the previous month compared. As you all know, these KPIs in terms of the calculation haven't changed. We're always measuring them according to the opening date. The time to hire is from when we opened the opening until we clicked hire. The average applied to hire is measuring from the moment the opening was opened. From the moment the candidate applied until they were hired. So looking at the candidate experience. And we also have the average time to onboard. This is from when we opened the opening until we actually saw the employee come in for their first day at work. The hire trend below enables you to identify and highlight trend patterns by various time intervals, featuring the following values. You can see here the total hires, time to hire, apply to hire, and time to onboard. You can either click them here below, or you can use the customize option. The customize option also allows you to choose the different interval in which you would like to see the trend. For example, you can look at years and see a comparison of 2023. And like I mentioned, you can choose the values here. Below we have the hiring summary. The hiring summary provides aggregated data of the hired candidates by the following values. We can see the hires, average time to hire, average apply to hire, and average time to onboard. You can slice the data by the default and custom position fields, along with additional categories such as source, source type, opening reason, and much more. You can all see that the name of the position is clickable, so I can go straight to Commit and see this position. I also have the number of hires per position. This is also a clickable number, and this will open the list of all of the hired candidates for this specific position. Once it loads, you can also use the columns option over here to select which columns you'd like to see, and you can choose the option to download as a CSV. Here we have the different metrics that we mentioned, and here we have the customize option. The customize option allows you to choose a main category. For example, if we want to see all of the hires by position, we can also choose this to be by department and see the hires by department. And you have the subcategory option. Here we haven't chosen one, but we can go ahead and choose, for example, location. And then we'll see the breakdown of department and then location, and then again, the same data hires with the different KPIs. You can select the values here, deciding to look only, for example, at the time to hire. The summary can also be viewed as a chart. You can either use the bar chart or you can use the column chart. If you'd like to exit the chart view, you'll click on the icon over here and close the chart view. Below this, we have the hired candidate details. This table features the default and custom position fields along with additional data points such as apply to hire, time to hire, application date, hire date, and much more. Keep in mind that if the candidate is protected by privacy and data retention settings, their name might appear here as candidate removed. So here, essentially, you have a full list of all of the hired candidates that we hired in February 2023. You can scroll to the right to see all of the various columns. The name of the candidate and the position name are clickable, taking you straight to the candidate card or the position card in Comeet. If you've got a long list, you'll click Load More for the full list to load. And again, you can customize the columns that you wish to see here. Another great thing about the columns is that we've added the custom position fields. This is a request that is really relevant to all of you that are using different custom position fields such as subregion, subdivision, etc. Fantastic. Now we're going to move on to our second report for today, the Candidates in Progress, a snapshot report. You can find it on the left-hand side under Workflow. The Candidates in Progress report helps you better understand the volume and distribution of candidates who are currently under consideration across ongoing processes. This is a snapshot report, so essentially you're seeing the data that is updated as of today. With this report, you can review the volume of in-progress candidates in order to understand the extent of ongoing hiring processes managed by the recruiting team. You can also use this report to explore the various KPIs that highlight candidates in key stages in the pipeline, for example, all of the candidates that are awaiting decision or candidates in the offer stage, in order to make sure that the hiring processes continue smoothly and without delay. You'll be able to review the start date of newly hired employees to maintain continuous communication with them and plan the necessary logistic and administrative preparations to ensure a successful onboarding process. You'll be able to slice the number of in-progress candidates by various criteria in order to explore ongoing hiring process data on a more granular level. Last but not least, you can examine the data at the candidate level in order to identify bottlenecks, for example, candidates whose hiring process has been unusually long, and use the wealth of information to understand the reasons for the delay. The report is divided into these sections. We have the KPIs at the top. Next, we have the candidates in progress summary, and below, we have the candidate in progress details. So let's start at the top. At the top, we have the following information. We have the total number of candidates in progress. This is just a small opportunity to remind you that all of these KPIs will always have tooltips sharing with you exactly what is calculated, and you will have the expand option. The expand option will open a new window of the list of all of the candidates that are included in this section. You can load more for the full list, scroll to the right to see all of the table, and use the columns customize option to decide which columns you would like to choose here. Again, we have the custom position field, which is a new exciting addition. In order to go back, just click the X over here and go back to the report. Moving forward, we have all of the candidates that are awaiting decision. These are the total number of candidates who completed all of the workflow steps and currently either have to make a decision or are waiting for the company's filing decision. Candidates in the offer stage are the total number of candidates that are currently in the offer stage. As a reminder, this is derived from the step templates menu in your company settings. If you're using Comeet's offer feature, you can also see how many offers have been sent. Over here, we have the qualified candidates that are waiting over 4 days. This is an example of a metric that you'll want to keep track of and see that you don't have any candidates that are waiting too long. You can click here the expand option, go through the list of candidates. Each one of the names of the candidates will direct you to the candidate card. You'll also see the position card. You can see the current step, how many days they are in the current step, and additional information, again, by the columns that you've chosen to present here. Here you can click on it, ping the relevant team member that needs to move forward with the candidate and make sure that you're not delaying the processes too long. Over here, we have the candidates in advanced stages. These are candidates who have passed at least one interview, so we want to make sure that if they're relevant, we want to make sure that we're scheduling their interviews. Again, use the expand option to see the full list. Candidates are on hold are candidates who have been put on hold at any point in the hiring process. So we can have candidates that are on hold and are in advanced stages. Make sure to keep track of this list so you don't have candidates that are sort of pushed to the side and we forgot to either update them about their status or make a final decision about them. Last but not least, we have the new hires. These are the candidates that were hired and have a future start date, and so they haven't started working at the company. This is a list that you want to keep track of for additional communication and preparing the necessary information and completing the tasks in order to have a successful onboarding. Below, we have a candidates in progress summary. Essentially, what we can do here is customize the table. We can choose a main category if we want to see all of the candidates in progress by position. We can also look at it by lead recruiter or department if that's a better fit for you. And you can also use the subcategory to add an additional category. For example, if I want to look at everything here by position and then look additionally per hiring manager. You can load more. And as mentioned before, you have the chart view. You can click here to see the bar chart. These can be different images that can help you in your presentations or team meetings. And you can also use the column chart that makes more sense to you. In order to exit, you'll click the close chart view. At the bottom of the report, you'll see the candidates in progress details. Here you can see that by default, the custom position fields along with additional data points such as the current step, days in process, source type, and many more. Essentially, you have here the total list of the candidates in progress. You can use the columns to customize it, and you can also download this as a CSV. Okay, great. So last but not least, I want to cover the source quality report with you today. You can find it on the left-hand side under sources. The source quality report helps you better understand source performance by examining how far candidates from each source were able to advance in the workflow. The time period filter at the top by default will be the month that you've chosen. So you can go ahead and choose a quarter, a year, or the custom option, and you'll have the various filters that you're already familiar with. Click here to add additional filters. With this report, you can review the volume of applications received in a selected time period and how many of these were marked as duplicates, past the first screening, or hired. You can investigate the ups and downs in the number of application duplicates as well as qualified and hired candidates over time in order to identify periods of considerable trend changes and inquire what caused such shifts. You'll be able to slice the number of applications, duplicates, and candidates by various criteria in order to explore the contribution and effectiveness of your sources, examine the percentage of duplicate and qualified candidates out of the total number of applications in order to accurately assess source performance, and also discover the number of candidates who reach the advanced interviews and offer stages in order to learn which sources provided high quality candidates. As we can already see here, the structure of the report is pretty straightforward. We have the KPIs, the trend, and the summary. So let's start at the top. Here we have the total number of applications. This is the total number of applications that we received in CoMeet in the selected time period. We also have a comparison to the previous time period, so we can see a decrease in the number of applications. We have the number of duplicates removed, the number of sourced candidates, and we have the qualified candidates and the sourced hires. Duplicate removed this is relating to the total number of candidates who applied or were added to the system within the selected time period but were marked as duplicates. And sourced candidates is essentially the total number of candidates who applied or were added to the system within the selected time period and were not marked as duplicates. These are the unique candidates. Qualified candidates, and this is sort of a metric that we're always using in CoMeet, it's not a new metric. This is relating to the total number of candidates who applied or were added to the system within the selected time period and passed the initial screening step. Our recommendation will always be to have a first go, no go step, which is a screening step. And then we have the final number here, which are all of the hires that we had. We can choose a different metric of time and choose Q1, as you can see here, and we can go ahead and choose a specific month and go back to February where we were at. Great, let's move down to the source performance trend. The source performance trend chart enables us to identify and highlight trend patterns by various time intervals featuring the following values. You can go ahead on the right-hand side and customize this, decide if you want to see this by month or with different values. If I choose this to be weeks, I have that option as well that I can see week over week. And then I can decide which values I want to see. For example, I want to see only the applications and duplicates, take off the percentage, take off the qualified candidates percentage, and view the chart. And then basically what I can see here is the number of applications, qualified candidates, duplicates, and then what will be interesting for me to see is the candidates that reach the offer stage, the number of hires, and I can also see the ones that reach the advanced interview stages. You can also download this for your presentations. By noticing trend shifts in the number and percentage of application, duplicates, applied and qualified candidates, you can investigate the cause for such shifts, learn from them, and improve your hiring processes accordingly. Below, we have a source performance summary. Here we have a table that provides aggregated data relating to source performance by the following values. You'll be able to see the source type on the left, and you can add this additional columns, and then here in the subcategory, for example, you can add the source name. So you can also see all of the agencies, all of the job boards, and scroll down. In addition, the customize option allows you to select different values. So here are the values that we can decide we want to see. Let's say we want to see the percent of duplicates, applications, and then look at the percent of qualified candidates, reach the advanced interview stages, reach the offer stage. And here we also have the option to see candidates in progress. Let's say we only want to see past data. So here, for example, I can see an agency, I can see how many applications, 33% of them were duplicates, 33% of them were qualified, and none of them eventually were reaching the advanced stages, the offer stages, or higher. So this is another way you can use the table. Again, you can slice the data here using the bar chart or the column chart. Okay, great. So that covers our top reports. As mentioned, we have additional training videos that you can dive into. We have a training video dedicated to our new report, the highlights report, a video for our past candidates funnel and activity breakdown, and for those of you who missed it, getting started with recruiting analytics. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.